community, our hometown. This is Kearney Live on 102.7 FM, our hometown radio station. Kearney Live is presented by Kearney Trust, 310 West 92 Highway in Kearney, 816-628-6666. And now here's the hosts of Kearney Live, Mike Davis and Jim Dickerson.
Right. Absolutely right. Well, they just stopped all of a sudden there, Brian. What the heck? Welcome to Kearney Live. I'm your host, Mike Davis, along with producer-engineer Brian Watts, the hardest working man on the planet. No doubt about it. It's been proven somewhere. And to my right, the man, the legend. He's kind of a big deal. I think you could just drop the word kinda. He's a big deal. Mr. Jim Dickerson.
And happy St. Patrick's Day. And as I look around, I'm the only one in the studio, and I'm not talking about the folks out in the studio audience. I'm the only one wearing green. What happened to everybody's spirit?
Well, I don't need an excuse to drink beer. I'll tell you that. Just saying.
I was talking about the green, but way to bring beer in the conversation.
Just this whole nonsense of it's needing a holiday to get somebody to go in a bar and, throw back a couple of pints. I mean, please. Anyway, yeah. No, listen. We used to have a ball, Jim, during.
This is the second year in a row that we haven't had any of the parade, like the St. Patty's Day parade, and of course, I think last weekend would have been what do they call it down in Northtown? Snake Saturday. Yeah. So we've missed that 2 years in a row. So I say it's time we get back to that. Anybody agree with me?
I do, and be done with the. Well, you could wear a green mask today, I guess. Brian's got his little tab on his shirt. I see there. Now the camera's not picking. There it is. Yeah, looks nice.
That does
green,
not.
No,
that
doesn't
not
qualify.
Count. No, because I looked it up in the official rules, and slapping some green sticker on your shirt is a last minute. Now we're throwing stuff in.
Jim, I do want to introduce our guest for the day. Gabriel, it's Coffelt, right? Did I get that right?
Coffelt.
Okay, I got it wrong, but now I stand corrected. Gabriel, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It is my pleasure, and in fact, you're one of the candidates for Ward 1, Alderman candidate here in Kearney, Missouri. Now, there's nothing particularly unusual about that. People run for public office all the time. I think one of the unique aspects about your candidacy is you're still in high school here in Kearney.
Yeah, I am. I'm very young for doing this, but
Right. But you're qualified as qualified as you need to be to run for this office, which I think is fascinating and encouraging, I would think, to see young folks getting involved in politics, in public service early in their lives. We'll come back to you. We've got a couple of things we want to cover, Jim, in the news, and I'm going to let you and I have talked about them off the air, and I'm going to let you take them in your preferential order.
Well, so I'll take the first one. You can take the second one. The first one is there has been we've gotten a lot of calls. And there's been a lot of confusion over these different tax levies that came out in the news. There is and you can go to 1027carneymo.com and take a look at it, and explains. The first one that really started all the questions was the MCC tax levy, and that is the one that actually would cause a tax increase. Now, here's where the confusion came in. Carney is also pushing for a use tax. That is a totally separate thing. And here's the thing. In the tax levy, CC levy has a I'm getting distracted because the screen kept going black, and I get distracted easy. The MCC tax levy, although it is not it isn't really spelled out in the ballot language, it does create a tax increase. The use tax is totally separate. It does not cause a tax increase. So if you're looking at those two issues, make sure you look at them separately. Do not lump them together. They are totally separate. They do totally separate things. The use tax, the one that Carney is asking for on the ballot, is Carney specific, and it does not increase your taxes. Just want to make that clear. If you have any questions,
right. We endorse it, by the way.
Yeah, the use tax is very important to Carney, and we support that tremendously. If you have any questions, though, any of the folks over at City Hall, the mayor, or anybody else would be glad to talk to you about it. But please do not discount the use tax or think that it's an increase in your taxes or something like that, or confuse the two. I hope I made that clear, but I know there's been a lot of confusion.
Well, I think you did, Jim. The news story that we posted, I believe yesterday, Brian, was the metropolitan community colleges are trying to, I think, do a service to students who, or to help them with tuition, and there would be a significant discount in your hourly tuition rate if this thing passes. But it does require everybody who pays taxes, property taxes here in the city, your taxes would be raised to pass this thing. I'm not saying yay or nay by the thing, but I just want to make that clear. And the Kearney, Missouri School District was very clear. They don't endorse it one way or the other, but they have said no. This is not our deal, and we really don't have anything to say about it, yay or nay.
And everybody, that's one of the things too. Everybody's being kind of really delicate with this whole thing. I'm not 100% sure why, but I think part of the problem that started was the part where in the ballot language on the MCC tax thing, it does not tell you there's a tax increase when in fact there would be. Yeah, and I think that's probably what started the whole.
It's at the heart of it. It is.
Yeah,
it truly is. And I just think ballot language needs to be clear, in particularly when it's going to raise your taxes. I mean, it'll cost you money.
And for those of you who are watching on KMO-TV or any of the video apps or anything else on your screen, is the actual article, and you can go look that up on 1027carneymo.com under the news section, and it'll kind of break that down for you. For you folks on the radio who are wondering what we're talking about as far as on the screen, 1027 Carney Mo will get you there, and you can look it up. Look up the MCC tax levy story.
1027carneymo.com is loaded with news, and you can sign up on our news page for daily e-news in your email. We will not share your email. We will not spam you with a bunch of emails. We will not fill your inbox. We will just give you daily news that we generate right here at the station, and we curate all of the news ourselves. We write the stories, and they are very, very hyper-specific to Kearney, Missouri. We hope you jump on there and become one of our subscribers. We'd love it. And lots of news here in Kearney on a daily basis that we like to cover.
And speaking of news, if you were going to have to drive to go vote, there may be some problems with your drive. And to talk more about that, we go to Mike Davis in the traffic center.
I feel like I need to hear some horns honking, Nicely done.
I thought you needed a transition,
that was
so
nice.
I was trying to throw something out there.
No, that sounded like that was from AM radio. Nicely done. Very nice setup. Well, what Jim is talking about is many of you may not know, but I'm sure others do, that the construction, the safety, the widening aspect of 92 Highway has begun. And next week, Brian, at the beginning of the week, am I right? It starts.
I think it's the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken.
There it is, right
For
there.
those of you watching on TV,
MoDOT begins.
The article is up on the website, and it is MoDOT begins extensive road work on 92 Highway, Route 92.
And I can barely see down there. It looks like it says March 22nd there in the second paragraph. Anyway, so just so you know, it will be shut down. I mean, you will be given a detour route to get through there. So if you travel, as some of us do here, on 92 east and west, you will be inconvenienced. But the long and the short of it is it's the beginning of what has needed to be done for, decades. and that is to widen that main east-west thoroughfare for folks between Smithville and Kearney, or folks between 169 Highway and I-35 Interstate. Be aware of that next week, or the 22nd of March, and that's next week. My gosh, I'll get it gets away from you. So let's kick this thing off. Let's get our show going here. I mean, let's just talk about what we're going to talk about, and let's get Gabriel Coffelt back in here. Yep. There it is. That applause was for you, sir. I just want you to know that's the one thing that keeps us coming back. I mean, guys like Jim and myself, we like it when people love us. We just love me, don't hate me, love me. Talk about what on earth made you want to jump in the middle of an election here. When did you make the decision to run for alderman?
When that first came out in the news, I think you guys posted it too about
the qualifications.
The qualifications, yeah. I was like, well, I meet all the qualifications, so I might as well go into City Hall and apply.
Just like that.
Yeah, just scrolling through Facebook, said, you read into it. It's like, well, I have I meet the qualifications.
Yes.
Let's go in.
Yes, and you've been at Kearney High School. You've grown up here in Kearney.
Yeah, I've grown up here in Kearney.
Yes, and you indicated to me that your dad has been involved with public service.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Good. Care to say?
He was the former building inspector here in Kearney.
There you go.
And has left now, but was former.
Right. So he sort of set the example for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's other motivating factors, obviously. I mean, you said you love it.
Yeah, I love Carney, and
yeah,
I want to stay here my whole life, and I want to start serving it.
Right. Does it make you at all nervous to be working on potentially on a board of aldermen that are folks who are, like us? We're old. No, I mean, there are people.
I was going to say elderly.
Exactly, seniors, and I don't mean the kind of senior you are, but you follow me. I mean, does that in any way intimidate you?
No, it doesn't, because I mean, again, when Dad working here, I've kind of learned all of them. I know Jim. I know all the people on that board. I mean, David Lehman. He gave my Eagle Scout Board of Review for me, so I know him.
Outstanding.
I mean, so it's like, I know these people.
Right. Yeah. So you have friendships. You bonded with these folks. Yeah. Very good.
So when, as it relates to Kearney, what are some of the issues you think are pretty important right now within the city? Because the city actually has some pretty good stuff going on, but what are some issues that you're interested in?
The one I'm really interested in is I kind of want to get Kearney back to that hometown feeling. We're urbanizing so quickly, especially with a new park. It's going to be brand new. It's going to be like you expecting, like Kansas City. I want to bring back that hometown feeling. That's what I loved. Going up and getting those concerts back too at like amphitheater. Mm-hmm. That was so hometown feeling. You could go out there. There was no bleachers or nothing. It was just you set up the lawn chair, you roll out the blanket, and you watch a good show.
Right. Yeah, I like the sound of that. Do you feel like you talk about the hometown feeling? I mean, you may not know, we refer to this radio station as your hometown radio station, and so I do get a sense of community here that that perhaps to me means hometown. Now, tell me what's your definition of a hometown feeling?
It's exactly what you said. I mean, small little things.
Mm-hmm.
Like this radio station.
It's the culture.
It's the culture, small little shops, trash and treasure. I mean, I love going in there. I mean, It's just so unique to Kearney. I mean, you can't go anywhere else and find a trash and treasure.
Right.
It's just, I want to bring back those small little towns, encourage small businesses.
Yeah, and I guess one would ask, how do you do that? How do you set about creating that as your standard?
One of the first things I thought about, because I thought about that myself, and I was like, well, how do we create that? One of the first things I thought about was more of those small little things that the Parks Department used to put on. And that's why I kind of want to start off is I want to start with the Parks Department, because when you do those small little things, it gets the community out. Like I remember, I can't think of the name of it now, but it was at the Halloween.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And I'm the last guy who should ask for something. First, if you need to remember something, don't ask me.
Yeah, I mean, just
doesn't happen.
The small little community things that bring people together.
The parade is what I think of that was hugely successful this past winter at the Christmas time. The reverse parade is what we called it, which I thought sounded funny. I can't get over that. People actually didn't drive backward, but it was
did.
Fun.
That's why I never made it. Everybody's like, why isn't Jim here? Well, he's still driving in reverse. I made it all the way to Oklahoma before I realized I was wrong. So when you talk about the amphitheater, I mean, what would you do? They obviously this last year because of COVID, you couldn't do anything, but what would you do to bring those shows back, and what kind of shows would you have?
Again, it's working a lot with the COVID right now. You got to get over that first. But with this use tax, I think hopefully we could start allocating some more funding towards the parks department, so that way they could get shows back. I mean, and I really like all the shows that we already had. I mean, the Bluegrass Fest was great because it was just there was always something for everybody. Mm-hmm. You started off with the Bluegrass Fest, and then you worked into country music, and then I think one year we had the Beatles. I can't think of what they're called.
The Beatles were there?
Not the actual Beatles. I was trying to think.
Say, I missed that one.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't.
The cover band. Yeah. That's fascinating. Yeah,
because it wasn't just country. Always, it was something for everybody.
Right.
Liked. And that's why I want to bring back, because not everybody here likes listening to country music, but if we have some country bands out here, we could get those people in here and just. It's about bringing everybody together around our great parks.
I think that would be a terrific start, and I agree with you. And I think you explained the sort of hometown feel that I think we were all kind of scratching our head over. I know sometimes I have a hard time identifying when you say, "Well, what is the culture of this place?" And then you have to really stop and think, and it's difficult to articulate at times. And I think you did a marvelous job of it. I heard you just said you're an Eagle Scout, right?
Yes, I am.
So I would definitely put that at the top of what I'm sure many qualifications you have that help prepare you to run for this office. What are some of the other things that you've done in your short career that would help prepare you for such an office?
So one thing I do is big in planning. With the high school, I do the BB and sports productions.
Mm-hmm.
And so that helped me kind of get where I have to be prepared for everything. I prepare for every contingency, a computer could catch on fire. I prepare for that. I mean, it's the most extreme situation, but I prepare for it. And that's kind of helped me prepare for this.
I can tell you were a scout.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Well, you laugh, but remember in the World Series in 2015,
they had an earthquake.
Well, no, that in 2015. You're thinking way back to 1976 or whatever it was.
You don't have to be so abrupt.
But remember when the Royals were on and it went dark because they had a problem in the truck.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
yeah.
Mike clearly doesn't remember that. So let's go over here. Remember in the World Series, and how old were you in 2015?
Oh, gosh.
What was that?
You're making him do math.
He's like, okay. So apparently I'm the only one who remembers.
Brian,
do you remember the World Series when that happened?
There we go. Brian's good.
I do remember that, yeah. I remember that.
Good, because I didn't want to feel all alone. Mike was making me feel all alone.
It's okay. I'm with you.
So
you're not alone, Jim.
Thank you.
You'll never walk alone.
Thank you, Mike.
It's still on you, Jim.
Oh, sorry. So anyway, back to the question at hand, which was, Mike?
Well, I think, yes. I love the BBN, the whole.
That's right.
You're a producer there.
Yes.
That's big. And it's what we do here. The pros, we make it look easy here, this actually a monkey could do this. But what Brian does,
I think it's a caveman.
I think that's right. But what Brian does, the producer, now, it takes slightly more than a monkey IQ to pull that off, as I'm sure you know, Gabriel.
Yeah.
We're about a minute from break, but we're visiting today.
I like when you say it. It's like, okay, so
well,
I'm going to make 60 seconds go. 50,
if you don't mind, Jim, I'm going to introduce our guest so folks know. We are speaking today with Gabriel Coffelt. He's Ward 1 Alderman candidate here in Kearney, Missouri. And I just think it's fascinating, and I don't mind mentioning, and I'm sure you don't mind me mentioning it, that you're a high school senior here at Kearney, Missouri, and just love that, and love that you're getting involved. I love you guys, our audience. You're listening to Kearney Live. We're going to have a quick little sponsorship message here. Come back. We'll be right here.
Always remember to thank the underwriters for their support of KPGZ.
Simplify your banking, simplify your life. It's easy with Kearney Trust Company. The world has become fast-paced, and we understand that you are busy. That's why we offer a banking experience that's as simple and stress-free as can be. Kearney Trust goes beyond convenient locations and good customer care to offer banking services that make managing your finances quicker and easier than ever before. Online, bill pay, e-statements, and mobile banking are available to give you a positive banking experience so you can get back to your life and activities. Kearney Trust also provides capital to people and businesses so they can achieve their goals. Whether you know exactly what you want or just need someone to talk to about your dream, you can speak with them and work on that dream. You may just be getting off the ground or ready to move into your brick and mortar building. Kearney Trust will provide you and your business with the resources you need to succeed. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to Kearney Live, and we could go ahead, Jim.
I have a question.
Jump right in there.
So I don't know if we're able to bring it back, but the video shot that was on when we came out of break, for those of you on the TV side, there it is. What is that thing in the picture? Just
we refer to it as the sun.
I haven't seen that in 4 days.
Yeah, right.
5
It's
days.
the sun.
Oh my gosh, I want to see that again.
Yep.
So
and after those, a week or so of those wonderful spring-like days,
and tomorrow night or tonight, Pete, our weather guy, says it's supposed to snow.
Pete Chaston.
Yeah, what?
Do you believe him?
Brian doesn't look.
Is he
as
trustworthy?
I'm not sure about that.
You're not sure that he's trustworthy, or you're
No,
not
that
sure
it's going to snow.
Just say,
I
don't
guess
question
we'll find out soon enough.
trustworthiness of our meteorologist.
Jim, I did want to mention very quickly that Kearney Trust Company sponsors this program, and they have been with us since the very beginning, and since we started what was at one time known as Live with the Mayor, with Mayor Bill Dane. But we have since morphed into Kearney Live. We are glad you're here, and we are glad that Kearney Trust Company is out there doing what they do so well. Thank you. We appreciate you. I do want you to know also Gabriel Coffelt is with us today. He is a Ward 1 Alderman candidate right here in Kearney, Missouri. And we've been asking our standard battery of questions here that we ask all the candidates. And while we hate to just kind of go down a list and make it a boring sort of a check off, each one, I sort of like getting your feedback, and you've done very well so far. We'll just see if we can continue that.
And now it gets harder.
The questions
as we go into
are
an
more
in-depth analysis of politics and political questions. And for that, we go to Mike Davis.
Nicely done, Jim. This one is kind of a fun question because we always sort of clown around with the the future of our lives, of the world as we see it here in Kearney, Missouri. And we're talking about the question is written this way: where do you see this city going in the next 5 to 20 years? Well, I'm not sure. I have a clue. But and I got a few years on you, Gabriel. I'm just saying. But that's a tough question to ask a young man like yourself. What do you see down the road here?
I see us getting bigger. I mean, as we continue, there's a new subdivision coming out right next to Westwood, and I see us continuing that expansion of town. I mean, I'm going to say in the future we're probably going to get more restaurants by La Fuente's in that undeveloped area. Mm-hmm. I mean, people already own it, and so it's just a matter of time until they start building. And so next few years, I see us getting bigger.
Yeah, I mean, and that obviously will impact any number of things. I mean, we've talked about it before. I think as towns grow, as people come in, infrastructure needs to be updated and built. Many things, and as along with infrastructure, you build the emergency services and so forth. How do you let's just talk about that for a minute. We're looking at the services and the infrastructure in Kearney, Missouri. Is there anything that particularly stands out to you, either positively or negatively?
I think what really stands out positively to me is the response of our fire department and our police department. I mean, I live right next to the fire station. I know when they respond quickly, and I do want to improve the numbers of our police departments. To respond more accurately, but you know what? For the time, what they have right now, they're working great with it.
When you say increase, you mean like the number of officers that we have?
Yes, the number of officers increased that.
Yeah, so that of course would take more funding.
Yes,
because they've got to compete. But and then the use tax we've talked about, so yes. that would help.
That would help them really a lot with funding the police department and other city needs.
So it's kind of it's a weird position to be in, and we've had this problem with other candidates in that if you were to be elected on April 6th, by the way, get out and vote, you would be inheriting something that's really in really good shape. Financially, the city's in good shape. If the use tax passes, even better shape.
Yeah, no doubt.
What would you want to improve? Because that is wouldn't you agree? That's the most difficult question. Right. Normally in a lot of cities, they're like, what do you want to fix? And then 7 hours later, they're still going on.
Yeah, it's not broke.
Yeah, you're inheriting something that the current alderman and mayor have really, they've laid out going clear back to Dane, Mayor Dane, they've laid out the groundwork, the blueprint and all that. What would you like to see improved?
I really think it goes back to the improvement of the number of officers and getting more officers and probably more vehicles for them, so that way we can protect our citizens more. And then, because right now, and then maybe also expanding eventually the fire departments, as that could be better. As we expand and we get bigger, we may need another fire station to make a new protection district, so that way they would have two districts, and that way, from going all the way up from Grove Street to out here by Westwood and all that. I drove that today, and it took me about 5 minutes with stoplights.
Yeah.
And so eventually, as we get bigger, there is going to be a need for more police and more fire.
Yeah, makes sense. We talked about business just briefly when we were discussing the culture of Kearney. And you mentioned some sort of cottage-type industries, made reference to that sort of unique type of shopping experience you could have only in Kearney. As business in Kearney, in a very general sense, is, as Jim accurately pointed out, is doing well. Short of the obvious COVID stuff. How do you generally see the business side of Kearney, Missouri, and what would be some of your thoughts on either maintaining or improving that?
I think we should.
Well, it's not. I don't mean to stump you. I mean, I just think that we have a terrific chamber of commerce, and I think that's a good place to start. And I think they're at the heart of really keeping and maintaining what we have here in Kearney, Missouri. And I think there's a great, folks have a great relationship. Everybody knows everybody here, and I think that's part of what you talked about earlier with culture. But as you, I mean, this is still probably part of that looking down in the future. There's no way to really know. But, I mean, what are your experiences here? How have you interacted with Kearney businesses? And just so you get a little sense of that, what it means.
Yeah, I mean, when I go out to town, I mean, there's great businesses. I mean, and it was great to see Gene Volvo's come back under new management. I mean, it's just like, when something goes out, I mean, there's always something new coming in, and that's what I think we really need. I mean, smaller businesses create big profit for the town, and they expand it, and it just keeps the town going. I think we need more of that and improve on that.
Right, and so, listen, I'm not sure I could answer this question, but then how does Kearney attract those kinds of businesses? I mean, certainly we want to bring in the larger businesses, and we've talked about our Kearney Enrichment Council, lobbying to bring other types of businesses that could bring employment so folks don't have to leave town. They can work right here and live right here. We're just sort of brainstorming here. How would you attract some of those more cottage type small businesses?
We got to make an environment that is suitable for them. And so, I mean, for the smaller businesses, we got to keep. We do want the big businesses that mass employ, but we also kind of want the small town ones. I mean, that employ a little bit of numbers, but those little numbers are great for the community. Because I mean, if you can get, a handful of teenagers, a job at a small town store, those kids may get inspired to make their own small business.
Right.
It's all about making a favorable environment to get people involved in small businesses.
So what kind of business would you say that we don't have here that we need? What's something that, say, Liberty has that we could use, and then you wouldn't have to go to Liberty or Kansas City or whatever? And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I mean, it's a good question.
Well, let me see if I can help you. Because I think there are a lot of stores, shops, restaurants in Liberty that just by virtue of their size, we can't have. I mean, we're not, until we expand to that size, and we're not sure we want to do that. But it seems to me there might be something, and it might fall back on that sort of unique type of shopping experience that doesn't exist in Liberty. Although Jim's question is obvious. You want to keep people here. You want to keep the spending revenue here. We want to shop local.
Yeah, there are a few stores, and I'm not going to name them just because I don't want to put them on the spot.
Well, they can become sponsors, and we will name them.
Well, there's that. But there's a few stores in Liberty that, quite frankly, I'd like to have here. And I'm going to say that, and I don't know what they pay for rent and whatnot, but I'm going to say that our cost to be based here is lower. However, there is something to be said for the number of patrons that come through said shop. So to further with your question, would you think that it's important? So you talked about when a business goes out here, a new one comes in. Would you do anything as an alderman to try to place the emphasis on helping to make sure businesses don't go out, keep them in business?
I mean, yeah, I think that's important too, because you got to keep. Yes, you want more people coming in, but you also got to think about the people who are already here, who chose to come here. You got to keep them happy, and so with that, I mean,
that's a delicate balance.
Yeah, you gotta make sure everybody's happy. I mean. So you got to focus not only on bringing people in, but you got to keep those current customers basically happy and give them rewards for staying here in Kearney.
Along the same, are you done? I was going to move on to something else.
Let's do
it. Because this is timely, and so it's come up before. I just want to see what your opinion is on that. One of the things that's come up with the coronavirus, and a lot of people have started to take notice, is that everybody seems to follow what Kansas City does. So if Kansas City does it, we feel like we need to do it. And that kind of spread to the county and all that. Do you have any thoughts on, and coronavirus is an example, because Kansas City said, okay, we're going to limit, I'm going to make something up, we're going to limit restaurants to 20%. Then everybody did it. And why'd they do it? Because Kansas City did it. Do you have any thoughts or opinion on Kearney and its independence and maybe taking steps as being a leader as opposed to a follower? Because Kearney is not Kansas City.
No. And that is one thing I do have a very strong opinion on, is we are Kearney. We need to make our own rules and follow those, because we're not Kansas City. We have small town infrastructure, and we have small town people. And so whatever a big city does, we don't need to follow that. Now, we may take guidelines from it. We may look and see, well, they did this. Let's do our style. That is important, because you learn from other people's mistakes. And we need to take it to Carney and fit it to Kearney. Because it's not, if you take a guidelines from a big town, put them in a small town, it's not going to work out. People are not going to have, just from my experience, I know I did not enjoy when all the limited the businesses. That doesn't really apply here to Kearney. Because you're going.
You mean during the shutdown? During
the shutdown, yeah. They said 20.
I agree.
They said like 50% capacity only.
Right.
Well, that means for our small town store, 50% is.
It's devastating.
It's devastating.
It's like two people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in some places, it's not two people,
but you make your point, and I think that's true. Yeah. Well, I think that's and I think that's all part of the maintaining the culture and the size. By the way, we're visiting today with Gabriel Coffelt in Ward 1 Alderman candidate. That's right. I'm going to just stop talking about your age, because right now it doesn't matter. But we are just thrilled to see younger folks jumping into this, the whole political arena. And but I think more importantly, it feels like public service. And I know that comes from your scouting background. It has to, a little bit, because you've done public service projects. Right? Yes, you're shaking your head. Yes, I know that. That's we appreciate you being here. We are going to be right back. Stay with us.
A special thank you going out to underwriters like these for their support of KPGZ.
Simplify your banking, simplify your life. It's easy with Kearney Trust Company. The world has become fast-paced, and we understand that you are busy. That's why we offer a banking experience that's as simple and stress-free as can be. Kearney Trust goes beyond convenient locations and good customer care to offer banking services that make managing your finances quicker and easier than ever before. Online, bill pay, e-statements, and mobile banking are available to give you a positive banking experience so you can get back to your life and activities. Kearney Trust also provides capital to people and businesses so they can achieve their goals. Whether you know exactly what you want or just need someone to talk to about your dream, you can speak with them and work on that dream. You may just be getting off the ground or ready to move into your brick and mortar building. Kearney Trust will provide you and your business with the resources you need to succeed. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
welcome back to Kearney Live. I'll get it out here, folks. Gabriel Coffelt is with us. He's Ward 1 Alderman candidate here in Kearney, Missouri. We are so happy to have you here with us, Gabriel. We talked quite a bit about infrastructure. We talked about businesses. We've talked about all manner of things, including we know where you live. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We know where you live, right in the heart of Kearney, which is pretty cool. Jim? You look like you're headed for your
No,
mic
actually,
there.
I was just kind of adjusting myself, but now that I've stolen the show. Ward 1, what does that encompass?
Ward 1 is, I'm almost right on the line of it. I think it goes back to Prospect Street, and then it's all the way up to here to Westwood.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's a very large section of Kearney.
Yeah.
So if I'm a resident of, because this is going to be the big question everybody asks, if I'm a resident of Kearney, what's your stump speech? Why do I want why would I vote for you?
What I really stand on is I'm young and I'm here to change up the game. I mean, so far I'm pretty sure I'm the youngest person to ever run for this position.
I would say that's probably true.
Could well be, yeah.
What's the youngest you can be? I don't even remember.
18.
Okay, so yeah.
And
You're 18.
I'm 18.
Yeah.
So I don't think you could be any younger.
Were you 18 before the? You wouldn't have been 18 before the presidential election, right? Or
I was.
Oh,
18.
you were. Okay, so
Yep.
you got to vote.
I got to vote.
How fun was that?
That was pretty fun. I mean,
First time ever
voting.
in a major election.
Yep.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yep.
It is. All right. Well, I'll let you continue with your stump speech. What makes you special?
So it's how young I am, and then just coming straight out of high school too. I have these ideas, and I've grown up in this town, hearing what everybody promises and what they follow through with. And so with that, I have come with a special set of mindset of, well, this is what I want to accomplish. And then having, being so young, I have the way to, connect with other young people and people of older generations too. Mm-hmm. I have, and to bring all that together for this town.
For the benefit of Kearney, Missouri.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. I think fresh ideas are always good. I mean, we're like a loaf of stale bread around here, the three of us.
Do you remember when you first voted?
I do.
In a national election?
I do. And,
Mike voted for, if I remember right, you voted for Lincoln.
That's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. It is an honor. And it's a right here in our republic, the United States of America, and it's great to be able to do that. I think that's a neat perspective, though. No, in all seriousness, I think we as business owners here in Kearney do try to do the same thing. Keep coming up with new ideas, listen to what others say, and keep our ears to the ground here and make sure that we know what people want. And I think that's, if you start with your audience, you start with your constituency, you'll never go wrong.
And that brings up a good question. So what are you hearing that the people around Carney want?
So what I always hear is, one of the biggest things that I've always heard throughout my life was the swimming pool. People always want it. And I think what the park department's doing right now with Lions Park is a good first step forward to new amenities and new things for the town of Kearney.
And I think one of those things, like the splash pad you're referring to,
yes,
are the kinds of amenities I think that would make Kearney a destination for others.
Yes.
Perhaps from Excelsior Springs or Holt or Liberty, even. Imagine that. How does that sit with you? I mean, is that sort of an objective that you would say, we'd like to make Kearney a destination, or do you want to just keep people out, or what?
Yeah, I do think getting people in here. I mean, we could emphasize, especially with having Jesse James from here.
Right.
We could draw them in with that, and then working on getting people to town. I mean, we already have we see great numbers of people come into town for the pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
If we can continue to draw them in here, not with only the pumpkin patch, with new amenities,
yes,
to keep them coming in town, to keep that backed up intersection
right
all year long.
Yes. Yeah, that's what you like, and then and then build new roads if you need them.
Yeah.
And then with the sort of sales tax revenue and use tax revenues, then you can afford to build those those kinds of that new updated infrastructure. Good thinking. You're a smart young man. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that you're a young man too. You mentioned too that, and I kind of wanted to get back to it. I'm just curious what your Eagle Scout project was.
So my Eagle Scout project was I built 2 benches for the Church of the Annunciation. They go right. They're right in front of the stained glass windows.
Oh yeah.
So it's just, and I nuts and bolts gave me a lot of the supplies necessary for it. So we did have to outsource the lumber to a Liberty area, but it was still the majority of the parts. I mean, the stain, the nuts and bolts, everything was from hometown. I built it right in my driveway with the help of my troop and community members.
Yeah, that's exciting. What are some of the other community projects you've been involved in that you can think of just off the top of your head?
So the troop, at least every month, I think twice a month now, they do the Highway not 92. We do 33. We go on the side of the road and we pick up all the trash there.
Oh, this time of year, it is a big deal. I mean, after snow and winter, I mean, I'm telling you, Jim, you look around and stuff is blown up everywhere.
Yes.
I mean, trash. Where does all this trash come from?
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of I saw it this Monday when I was going to school.
Yeah.
You'll see the yellow trash bags on the side of the road.
Yeah. There you go. Once it's been picked up,
Yeah.
I'm seeing it in where I live, where it hasn't been picked up yet. But I think the wind, Mother Nature has a way of sort of, what do they say? March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb, or something like that. And
I thought you were going to say Mother Nature has a way of redistributing the trash.
It absolutely has done that this year. We've had a couple of windy days that cause that. So, we're talking to Gabriel Coffelt here this afternoon, and appreciate all the hard work that you've done so far. And as a student, finishing up your high school career, man, how's that feel?
Going back full time is definitely going to be a new experience. I mean, so far we've all got used to hybrid, but I am really looking forward to seeing all my classmates again.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's been, okay, I'll maybe see you outside of school, but now we're able to go back full time. And
when do you go back full time?
We go back the 29th. We go back full in-person classes 5 days a week.
And then how much longer do you have after that?
I graduate May 16th.
So a month.
Wow.
Yeah, about a month.
Make the most of it.
And you were telling us earlier they're still trying to figure out how they're going to handle graduation because we don't know yet.
Right now, the principal did say his optimal one he wants to give us is 4 tickets for guests, and then a full everybody, one class together graduation.
Man, wouldn't that be great? Yeah, it's been over a year.
How many? I mean, you probably don't know how many. Was there a limit on tickets pre-COVID?
Yes, there was. Pre-COVID, there was only 6.
Okay, so you're almost to full tilt by then. So
you love the sound of that.
Yeah,
you really do. Any particular? If you have a favorite teacher up there at Kearney High School,
I do.
All right,
Miss Karen Johnson. She's the broadcasting teacher.
We know Karen. Yes.
Yep. She's probably my favorite teacher. I mean,
big shout out right there, Karen.
Say big shout out to Karen there.
Yes, outstanding. We have been visiting today. We got some time left with Gabriel Coffelt, and Ward 1 Alderman candidate. We love it. Love that you're doing that. Sounds like you're well qualified and prepared. And what will you do on Election Day? Just sit and wait for the ballots to be counted?
Yeah, I mean, I plan on going to vote. I do have to go to school that day, man. So I gotta sit in school nervous.
I hope you don't have a test that day.
I hope I don't either.
Little distracting.
Have you campaigned a few of your friends, the ones who are 18? Have you?
Yeah, I've been talking up the teachers too.
Nice.
Like, hey,
Yes.
Have you been given campaign speeches?
No.
As we move forward into the future.
I wonder if Karen Johnson will vote for you now that you gave her such a nice shout-out here on 102.7 FM.
Yeah, hopefully she does.
Well, Karen, this is up to you.
No
now.
pressure.
If you lose by 1 vote.
Yeah, and then you'll go back.
Or hopefully win by 1 vote. No, we're objective here. We have other candidates we will interview in the process here. In fact, don't we have, 2 or 3 others? Brian, yes, he's shaking his head. Yes, next week we've got Jason Pirrett. He'll be here next week, who would be one of your opponents
Yes.
right? Yeah.
I believe it's a 3-way right now for Ward
Yes.
1, and I think
Kathy.
and then for Ward 2, I think
Dan Holt.
Dan Holt,
He's
unopposed.
He's unopposed.
unopposed right now.
Nobody wants to mess with
No.
Dan. No.
Not going to touch it.
Not gonna do it. Socks
Nope.
in the drawer. 1,000 points of light.
It has been just terrific having you here. Gabriel Coffelt, in Ward 1 Alderman candidate, and it just does my heart just well. I mean, to see your interest in this and that you're committed to this thing, and all you did was sign up. You went right.
Yep.
You went over to City Hall and put your name on the list.
Yep.
And that's all you had to do.
So what do you want to do
There you go.
going forward? I mean, outside of the what's your life goal? I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be on Carney Live, because I know there's a lot of people that have that. I'm one of them.
Check that box.
What's your life dream?
Right now, it's to be a producer for ESPN, work for them for live sports broadcasting, continue on what I love doing in high school, and bring it to the next level.
Now, there's a chance you'd have to leave Kearney to do such a thing, right?
Yes, and then
So you're saying there's a chance.
one of the things I've been kind of looking forward to is possibly there's a business in Liberty who does live sports broadcasting, and that would be able to make me, if I get a job there, I could stay here in Kearney, where I love to be, and continue to serve Kearney, but also just commute 10 minutes to do my job.
Right. And
I believe the way Johnny Carson used to always phrase that is, as we're told, that's another network.
exactly.
So we're not allowed.
we won't
so
mention-
you're talking about going to another network.
Now, do you like being on this side of the camera, the one you're on right now, or would you prefer being off camera?
Oh, I love being off camera. I mean, I could deal with being on camera.
Okay, you've done a wonderful job today, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah,
but why the difference?
Because I've learned so much on the back end of it.
I see.
It's just, I could, for the things I do at school, I could do it by memorization.
Yeah.
With this area, I'm more
sure.
stiff.
It takes some time, and I understand that completely. Are you involved in other things that in the communications portion of this? I mean, do you do any writing at all on yourself, writing your own scripts or things like that?
Big thing for the news is we all write our own scripts.
Mm-hmm.
We write our own intros, outros, jokes, and
jokes. There's precious few of those around.
I was going to say,
no, there are jokes. There just aren't any good ones.
I was going to say I could use some jokes because mine are horrible. You want to watch a ratings crash? Listen to my jokes.
Remember that loaf of stale bread we were talking about earlier? Yeah.
There's that. The only things that are worse than my jokes are Mike's jokes. So
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. But,
well, okay. Do you want to try it out?
Oh, here we go.
Because I was going to tell.
Were you going to have Gabriel jump in?
I was going to build off of what Gabriel said, because when you actually built something that works when you were in Scouts, correct?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say his jokes actually work.
Well, no, because when I remember I built that when I was in high school, I built a birdhouse, and the Fair Housing Committee condemned it. So that's kind of see.
And that's the best you got.
I need a new joke writer.
That's wow.
That is the best I've got. Can I tell you something else though? Because I
think you're about to.
I wanted to hit it before we left the program, because I meant to do it up front and I forgot. I wanted to give a shout out to Brennan Watkins, because the Greater Kansas City Suburban Conference released its 2021 Blue Division All-Conference selections, and Brennan was Player of the Year.
Outstanding.
And I wanted to mention that. I meant to mention it at the beginning of the show, and I forgot because it wasn't in front of me, and if it's not in front of me,
well done. And
but congratulations to Brennan.
Absolutely, Brennan. I mean, that's one of the probably easiest votes that anybody. There's no deciding who the Player of the Year is. I mean, terrific job.
And I don't know how. Well, I guess it could possibly happen, but I don't know how you break his record. I mean, he blew the old record out of the water.
And yes.
It's amazing what he's done with his career.
So tell me he's over 1,500, right?
Yeah, he broke 1,500.
Right. That's crazy.
So, yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Gabriel.
April
yes.
6th is Election Day.
Gabriel Coffelt, and right here, he's a Kearney man, and I'm just saying, you will, I would say he would stand tall with all the other candidates, and don't forget to make your voice heard on the 6th of April. Thanks for being with us here on Kearney Live. Thanks to Jim Dickerson, Brian Watts, and on behalf of everybody here at 102.7 FM, thank you so much for being with us. Thanks for being loyal listeners. Thanks for all you do, Carney. We're here for you. See you next week.